welcome to episode 3 of Doc Talk. I'm your host, Owen Jones. Of course, I've got my co-host here, JP, also known as Jason Parrett. How you doing, Jason?
Good. Good afternoon, everybody.
Today we've got
third episode.
Today we've got a special guest of ours, not far from Jason, Noah Parrett.
Hey guys,
the
excited
legend.
to be on the show.
Glad to have you here, Noah. Today's episode, we're gonna dive into, no pun intended, fishing. And Noah's kind of the expert. Been learning it for years. I'm gonna let him kind of talk about that a little bit. I don't know if Jason wants to say something about with Noah being your son. Maybe you want to make a comment.
Yeah, I mean, I put a fishing pole in Noah's hand when he was, I think, 3 years old. We have a picture of it, and he caught a bluegill that was about 3.5 inches long, and he held it up with a smile that lit the world up. And from that point on, he was hooked. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Happy to have Noah here and sharing his passion of fishing with us.
So with that, I'll lead off. Noah, tell us about your background. Obviously, that was your initial start. But what have you learned, I guess, along the journey? Where did you start, and how has you progressed? I know YouTube, all these other resources are a huge asset now to everybody and everything. How did that affect you? Where did you kind of start, and where are you today?
So I guess the biggest thing when I started was, of course, my dad taking me out and teaching me things that, hooking a bobber and a worm. That's base level. And then I kind of, as I grew older, still didn't have my driver's license. I kind of, would bike around random different spots and just kind of try out new things and figure out, what to do and just try to catch anything I possibly could. And then I started, investigating online more and kind of getting information from some of the top tier guys and,
So who are the top tier guys? Let's talk about that.
So a lot of guys that
Who are your favorites?
So when it comes to like tournament fishing and like the professionals, I like, Scott Martin, Skeet Reese, Jacob Wheeler, Dustin Cannell. Those guys are my favorites. And then I actually just had someone that I know well just win the Bassmaster Elite Tournament, Jay Shakirat. So
that's
that was
awesome.
cool to see.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm leading to now. But
Where did Jay win that one? That was
St. Lawrence River.
In New York.
New York, yep.
How many pounds?
It was a little over 100 pounds, so he broke the record for a 3-day tournament.
He's from Stevens Point. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, so
you're in a fishing league, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and now how does a fishing league, how does that work?
So
I guess, what's that like?
I'm in a league called LCA, so Lincoln County Anglers.
Okay.
So what we do is we focus on fishing mainly all lakes in Lincoln County.
Sure.
And then, like, if you make the championship, you'll, go outside of the county.
Sure.
But so how it works is there's 20 boats, and there's 2 fishermen per boat, so you guys are a team. So there's an entry fee of $80 per boat. And what we do is we'll go to different lakes, and we'll, fish from 7 to 3. And then you have to bring in your best 5 bass. It's all bass tournaments that are over 14 inches long. So whoever has the most weight at the end of the tournament, wins. Yep. And then first, second, and third get paid out. And then if you make the top 10 at the end of the year, you'll qualify for the championship, which is a 2-day tournament. And then, if you can win that, that's some big bucks. But
yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
And you're sitting where now?
We're sitting in 7th out of 20th right now. We had a bad tournament last weekend, but
demoralizing. Didn't you want to talk about it?
Let's not talk about that one.
Okay, yeah. Well, the ups and downs, right?
Yeah.
So that brings up a good topic. So, I mean, obviously, we're into July, into summer kind of fishing. Like, how does that strategy change? Or maybe frustration's the better way to put it. But obviously, as it gets harder, it's what divides the pros from everybody else pretty much. So what do you do to combat that?
So, July, August, dog days of summer for sure. It's hot, water's super warm. There's a lot of tactics that can work, and there's some that definitely don't work at all. But a lot of the times I try to focus on, shade, cover, and deeper, cooler water. So if I'm fishing, say a small lake, and I notice there's a lot of docks or like a lot of trees laying in the water, I'll focus on getting it into the heart of that structure, you know, flipping it as far as I can into the trees or skipping it as far as I can under docks or pontoons or even like swim rafts. Any place like that where a bass will feel safe and there's shade, that's a really good tactic to catch fish this time of year.
Yeah.
Another good tactic is definitely like top water, but usually I'll focus on top water from like, you know, say 6 till 8:30 in the morning.
Sure.
And then I won't start up again until about, 7 to 9 at night is when I think that's the best time to throw top water, because those fish, of course, are moving shallow to eat. Yeah. You know, they have an eating schedule just like we do. So
yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And what kind of like so let's talk, you know, we're talking a little strategy. What about gear? I mean, you know, is there a gear change, you know, when it comes to your what does your tackle box look like? Let's call it, you know, spring versus, you know, this time of year.
His tackle box occupies 1/4 of my garage.
Yeah.
So if that tells anything.
We're going to kick it out on this. He needs to get a storage unit is what needs to happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, from spring to this time of year, you're going to use different things, and there's going to be different tactics you have to use. So in the springtime, you know, let's call it pre-spawn. So that's before the fish move up onto their beds. Pre-spawn is usually a tough time to catch fish because the water is still cold.
Sure.
But you can catch, you know, a lot bigger size. So a lot of that time I'll focus on fishing deep with like deep crankbaits or anything kind of moving to get a reaction bite, because that's really the only kind of, you know, bite you're going to get out of those fish that time of year. Then as you transition to more like when they move up on their beds, that's when they're spawning.
There's a lot of knowledge here.
There's a lot of knowledge.
I've
taught him everything he knows. Don't let him fool you.
Yeah.
When I hear reaction bite is the only thing you're gonna get, that's when my eyes glaze over and it's a reaction bite. Okay, and I just nod like everybody knows what that means. People watching may know what that means, but I don't. So why don't you explain what a reaction bite is?
So reaction bite is, you know, a fish really isn't hungry, but they have that natural instinct to attack.
Bite. Yeah. Okay.
So if you can get a bait in front of their mouth and they just go up and eat it because it's a reaction, that's considered a reaction bite.
Okay.
So
they're not hunting.
No,
they're not really pursuing
hunting. You're kind of forcing them to eat it.
Yeah,
but their instinct is like, oh, I want to eat that right now. So
and that's why it's flashy and moving baits. And,
something like that.
And that's what you're doing early spring.
Early spring, yes.
Okay,
and
deeper water.
Deeper water, yep. And then when they transition to their spawn mode, this is when they can be hard to catch.
Yeah.
So they'll move up shallow. They'll make their beds. Usually you'll have a male fish guarding the bed. And the female will either be locked on the bed or they'll be, you know, kind of off swimming around, kind of protecting it.
Yeah.
So that time of year is usually like around here is like the 2nd to 3rd week in May.
Yeah.
Is when, you know, fish are full on beds.
Yeah.
And that's when you can really catch a lot of big fish, because you can just cruise around the shallows.
Sure.
And look for, usually a bed is like a big, almost perfect circle, like light spot in the water.
Yeah.
And they'll have like some rocks or something in the middle, and you'll see fish hanging around by it. So I focus on fishing beds that time of year.
Yeah.
And that you can use, honestly, any sort of finesse bait, which is something that moves real slow, is real small and slender.
Okay.
So, you know, kind of trick them into biting it.
Yeah.
So
what kind of bite is that?
So that's honestly really fun, because it's pretty much all, you know, sight fishing for them. Mm-hmm. So you'll pull up on a bed, you know, and you'll kind of just sit there, anchor, and you'll pitch anything at them. So like, say like a Ned rig or like a shaky head, a hair jig, any small presentation that's got a lot of action. That will, when you drag it across their bed, the main thing you're trying to do is make the fish mad.
Okay.
And a lot of times they'll just kind of grab it and pull it off their bed quick. So you're waiting for them to actually eat it, and when they eat it, you'll set the hook and, of course, catch it. And that's how I've caught in pretty much all my biggest smallmouth that I've caught was all off bed. So
that's interesting.
Was that last year, that one? It was an hour and a half or something?
Yeah, so it was last year. I was up at a cabin with my buddy in Eagle River, and this lake, it's small, but it's super crystal clear, and it's full of big smallmouth. So we were kind of just cruising around the shallows, and I pulled up on this one bed, and I knew right away it was a big fish. And I sat there for...
Just from the size of the bed?
From the size of the bed, and you could just tell that it was very thick, and it was really kind of finicky. So Usually the bigger fish are a lot more smarter.
Yeah.
So I pulled up to this bed, and it was crazy because there was like a big log that laid right over the top of the bed, and all I could see was the fish's head. It was just kind of sitting there staring at the boat. And I pitched everything I could at it for about an hour. I'm like, all right, this thing ain't going to bite. We move on. We go catch some smaller fish. I'm like, we got to go back to this fish. Come back to it in the same spot. Another half hour went by, wouldn't bite. And finally, I actually got snagged on the log. So when I reached down to get my snag out, I actually tapped the tail of the fish a little bit on accident, and it kind of darted off its bed. And so I'm like, well, if it's going to come back, I'm going to drop down right when it comes back. So it came back. I dropped my bait down and hit it right away. Set the hook, caught it. It was a 5.5 pound smallmouth.
Wow.
Beautiful
That's
fish.
a big
Beautiful
smallmouth.
fish, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
He learned his patience from me too. By
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah,
just so you
right.
know.
Well, Bueno, yeah, I know that's true.
Yeah.
Knowing Jason. Yeah. All right. So, okay, let's talk. So, basics, gear. I mean, what favorite poles, favorite reels? Does that change by, time of year, or is that kind of consistent,
So mainly, like when you're figuring out like rods, reels, and line and all that, it usually changes on the tactics that you use. So like early season, you're going to want lighter gear, lighter line, and it also depends on water clarity when it comes to line. So if you're fishing, super crystal clear water, you're going to either want, a leader, or you're going to want, like a fluorocarbon or monofilament line that the fish can't see.
Yeah.
If it comes to more darker water, then it doesn't really matter as much.
Sure.
Or it also depends, like if you're flipping like trees, where you're going to want to use something like a fluorocarbon line, because braid, if you were to use braid, it could nick really easy.
Yep.
So, but if you're fishing, like say you're fishing a topwater frog, where you're throwing it over lily pads and thick muck and stuff, you're going to want braid.
Sure.
So when you do catch a fish, you can cut through those lily pads easier.
That
Then,
makes
like,
sense.
of course, different tactics, you're going to want to use different kind of rods. So if you're throwing like more finesse stuff, you kind of want a longer, lighter rod, like a medium power or medium light. But if you're throwing like big baits or, throwing top waters and thick cover, you're going to want a heavier rod, so like a heavy action rod.
Sure. Yep.
And then when it comes to reels, I'm a big fan of bait casting reels. I've always used them.
Yep.
So those are always good for,
Are there any brands you stick to? I mean,
the two
we
brands
don't have
that I really,
sponsors for that, so
working on that. The two brands that I mainly stick to is Daiwa and Shimano.
sure.
They're more on the high end side, but I would rather spend a little bit more money to get better quality
Sure.
than
longevity out of them. and-
buying something that's cheap. And then when it comes to rods, there's so many different kind of rod brands out there, and I've tried a whole bunch of them. The two that I've found that are a good price and seem to work the best for me is 13 Fishing and of course St. Croix.
Yeah.
The St. Croix.
St. Croix is the OG.
Yeah, they're the OGs. So those are the two kind of rods that I stick to
Sure.
usually. So.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, JP?
I mean, I was always a Fluger guy, but I've transitioned
I was
a little bit.
the button, the plastic.
that's what Jesse uses. My wife and
Plastic
Noah's
button.
mom. She likes the Zebco 202.
There you
Does
go.
she have
The
303?
Zebco.
303?
I think I had one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not good with a bait caster, so I use all the spinning. But I'm a Abu Garcia fan. I have really pivoted towards their products the last 3-4 years.
Yeah. I mean, that
Good
makes
stuff.
sense.
Yep.
So, I mean, what you like early morning, or when do you usually go? It depends on the time of year.
Yeah.
Loaded question.
So
Shot out of a cannon.
So I mainly, when say I have a weekend off where I can just go fish, usually the night before I'm having a little too much fun. So I mainly transition more to fishing in the evenings. I'll go out like at 3 in the afternoon and fish till dark.
Sure.
So that's mainly my
And the
time.
tournament now, or not tournament, but the fishing league.
Yeah.
That's a evening league.
No, that's actually 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Oh, 7 to
full
3
day.
p.m.
So an
Okay.
8-hour day,
All right.
yeah.
I'm glad we clarified that.
Yep.
Because I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking
Yeah,
evening.
the last one you did, you left the house at 4:20 a.m.
4:20 a.m. and I got back at 5 p.m.
That's a day.
They're long days,
a full
but
day of
it's
fishing.
fun.
In a day that long, it's hot, obviously. You're out on a boat, you're fishing. It's repetitive. What kind of refreshment are you taking along?
Well,
in this
when it comes to
circumstance?
tournaments, you can't have, of course, alcohol.
Oh,
They don't allow that.
that seems like
So I'm trying to get my electrolytes
borderline a
in.
slap in the face to
Right? Yeah.
the fishing industry as a whole.
Afterwards, all the guys crack a beer, but
I thought that's why we went fishing. See, so I've been doing.
yeah, but no, of course, your water, your Gatorades, energy drink in the morning, of course, like
Yeah.
a Red Bull or something like that.
Yeah.
And then make sure you pack the proper snacks because you're gonna get hungry.
Yeah.
But
So okay, off the league schedule, are you an IPA guy or are you just a Busch Light guy or what are you drinking?
definitely not an IPA guy.
Okay, definitely not.
That's
Okay.
that's one beer I
little
can't.
skunky.
Yeah,
for
a
you,
little
huh?
skunky.
Okay.
I mainly stick to a little bit of the lighter beers,
Sure.
like the light craft beers or
What about you, JP?
I'm all over the place.
You are.
I'm
He's at Crafties.
definitely not an IPA guy, but we'll fruit beers, sours. I really like sours, fruit beers, ale, Scotch ales.
You are all over
You
the
can keep the
place.
porters and the stouts, the dark stuff. I'm not into, but a Scotch ale like the Lexington Brewery bourbon barrel. That's
Yeah, that is your fave.
my fave.
Yeah. I can't even look at one without thinking JP. Yeah. Which reminds me, so little caveat, we're going to have Keith actually from Crafties on.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. I say it with a little bit of caution. I think it'll be the next episode. We'll
Next
play it by
episode.
ear.
I feel pretty good about
Yeah.
that. Yep.
We think it'll be the next episode, next two, let's say, for sure. But Keith's a craft beer owner, connoisseur kind of guy. So we'll go off into those tangents more on that episode. But so you stay with the light stuff.
Yeah, usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was in that boat at your age.
Yeah.
It's all about volume.
To
when
be
you're in
clear,
your 20s,
Noah
right?
is 21.
I am
Just in
21,
case the viewers are concerned about the undue influence of Jason and I. So we're all good there.
Yep.
Okay, so we talked a little. Obviously we've been talking all summer. You ice fish, obviously. So to the viewers that can ice fish, what does that look like? What time of year, gear for that kind of stuff? I don't want to go too deep into that, but
I guess the biggest thing for ice fishing is, of course, safety. You got to make sure that the ice is safe to walk on.
yeah, good point.
So
Don't fall through the ice.
Yeah, don't fall through the ice.
Step one.
Don't drive on it when there's
Yeah.
4 inches.
Step one, don't die.
Yep.
That's a good first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just be careful. If there's current, of course, ice is going to be a little more thin.
Yeah.
Usually I'll start ice fishing, depends on the weather, honestly. If it's, a cold fall,
Yeah.
usually like end of November to beginning of December is when you start getting, ice
Yeah.
on the lakes. And I'll start, I'm not huge into ice fishing.
Okay.
I definitely focus more towards open water.
Sure. So he's
But-
not an ice fisherman.
Yeah. When I have
He doesn't want to do that.
when I have the time, I do
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Okay.
So, I like to focus on, just being safe, going out,
Other than drinking beer on the ice, they are catching fish, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes.
I wasn't
yeah.
sure if that actually was going on or if it was all facade.
One of the things I do every year is I go up to Little Bay to Knock up in
Okay.
Upper Michigan.
Okay.
Me and my
Sounds
buddies.
cold.
Oh, it's cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and my buddies will pull like a permanent shack out there for the week.
Okay.
We go like late February, so the ice is like 24 inches thick.
Sure, yeah.
So you're plenty
You don't have to worry
fine.
about it.
Yeah, plenty
Yeah.
fine to drive on, and we'll actually sleep out on the ice for 4 nights. We're
Wow.
out there for 5 days, and
That sounds right up your alley.
Yeah,
course,
I'll
you
get
know,
right on that.
no showers or nothing, but
Yeah.
lots of beer.
Right
and
up
just-
my alley. Yeah. Yeah, my idea of camping is an air-conditioned room with,
Yeah, right.
with a shower. Ideally, some kind of nice local restaurant nearby.
Yep.
So, yeah. I do eat s'mores, though, so that's... I'm probably the least outdoorsy of the group. That's fine. All right, maybe we should wrap it before this turns to me. Okay. Any final thoughts? Anybody? JP, you wanna add something here?
I just think fishing is one of those things just to reach a broader audience. There's a lot of activities to get young kids involved in, but I felt that introducing that to my kids at a young age would have been something they were interested in, and my goodness, did it catch
Yeah,
Noah, and
sure did.
he is, like
Yeah.
I said, up until I just referenced that before we started here, I taught him everything he knew until the age of 10, and now he's taught me everything he knows. So I
Sense.
follow his
Yeah.
lead, which is which is fun. It's a great time.
I think it's a really good way to bond with your kids.
Definitely.
And,
We spend a lot of time
teach
on the water.
patience, that kind of stuff. So
Yep. It's awesome.
yeah, awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Obviously, we're going to have a lot more episodes. This will live on our navigation on our website as well as our YouTube page. As always, please like the page. We're going to have a lot more content, a lot more guests coming up in new episodes. So thanks again for watching. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Thank you.